and better. Yeah, so in the last class, I have explained the semaphore. So the semaphore is, which is a kernel object used to handle the various resources. So some sort of a signal. You indicate through a signal. There are some functions called semWait and semSignal. Okay, so semSignal will decrement and semWait will increment. Okay, so as soon as semSignal is given, it will increment. SemSignal will increment and semWait will decrement. So you have given use some semaphore functions to use a resource which need to be shared by more than one task. So this is the program which I have already explained. Herein you can see that mainly we are using the UART as a resource to display, send the message like task 1 and task 2, something like that. So in a task 1, you, and moreover, if you see the code, here I have given some high priority for task 1 and low priority for the task 2. There should be some way through which the task need to be switched. So we've used some forcible switching, like using a delay function, and in this task 1, we are sending the message which is task 1. Message 1 is just putting the task 1. Okay. So before which, since I'm using the semaphore, you make use of, the UART. There is a semWait. It is waiting for the semaphore. So whichever task holds the processor first will acquire the semaphore, and that can make use of the resource. So what happens in this case is, since we are forcing the stars to go to break or halt, so this task will go to the blocking state, and task 2 will get a chance, and there is a wait function. If semaphore is available, immediately it will acquire it and display the message, which is task 2 in this case. And once it displays the message, it can release it. It can release it through the semSend. So from there, we can continue like how I can acquire the token and release the token, some sort of which. So basically, what I want to say here is, you're using UART to display the message, and there's a task switching happens through the two tasks by forcibly putting some delay, and make sure that the particular message is displayed. That's it. So the semaphore, the results we have not shown the complete, but you can just visualize. You just display task 2, and task 1 based on the speed through which the particular task switching happens. Okay. 1 second. This is a change in priority. Sometimes you may feel that in this case, it is continued in the task 2 itself. Okay, maybe that delay what we have put, it is making the task 2 to continue in the loop. So you may have to do some minor changes in the code so that there is a switching between the task 1 and task 2 as well. But moreover, here in this particular program, we just sending the message like task 1 and task 2, and it is done through the semaphore. Yeah, 1 second. So in mutex, yeah, can you see the code of mutex?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Yeah. Okay, so since a semaphore you've understood, but the difference between semaphore and mutex is, anyway, I'll discuss the theory maybe in the next class more on the mutex. I have shown you the state diagram of mutex. So wherein you must have seen that there is a blocked and unblocked, which means it's a key to use a resource. The task which holds the key till it holds the other task cannot make use of the resource, means which enters into the critical sections. The process which enters into the critical section. So it means it is for the timing, the particular task is using that critical section or the resource. Until and unless that process releases it, means it goes to unblocked state. So there will be only blocked or unblocked, or you can say locked and unlocked. You can call it in that way as well. It will be locked and unlocked. So whenever the process holds the key, it will be locked, and when it finishes, it becomes unlocked. So this is a code given to just to explain the mutex operation. Here we will be using some variable, okay, some global variable. Maybe it is used in the a function, just to show the how the function is used by the various process. But in both the functions, we'll be using a common variable. How this variable value changes in the when you execute the two tasks. Okay. So most of the things are similar. We don't have much difference. Here, when I start with the main, there is a UART initialization because you're using UART, and there is a system initialization function with the priority given, and this is your UART initialization function. So we don't have much changes over here, the same, and we have a initialization. Anyway, these things I don't want to explain again and again. Function prototypes, and additional thing we have here is we have calling to more functions. These functions are called in the task. So we've got two tasks. We've got two tasks defined, task 1 and task 2. Of course, there is a initialization task. So this is the initialization task. In that, you define the mutex initialization, which are all defined in your RTL.h. And yeah, so given with the ID mutex1. I mean, you name it mutex1. And you have two tasks given with the same priority. Here it won't make any difference because the task, supposing if even though you give whichever if the higher priority task holds a mutex, definitely it holds, and until and unless it releases, other process cannot make use of it. Okay, and if you give the different priority, then the other process may not get a chance at all. Anyway, it is a user point of view, how you write the code, that makes a sense. But ultimately, you need to understand that what is the, I mean, how you use the mutex object to share the resource. That should be our main objective. Yeah. So this is the initialization function, and once you do so, you delete it. Okay. Then we have a task 1. Task 1. In the task 1, we have defined some two buffers here. That is for the message. You reserve some memory with some memory, I mean buffer size, array size for two tasks. Buffer 1 for task 1, buffer 2 for the task 2. So coming to task 1, here you have task 1. Yeah, there is a mistake here. It should be buffer 1. I'm sorry, I've just copied buffer 1. So task 1 calling F1. Okay. Yeah. So in task 1, you have a buffer 1. I mean, that is array which we have declared here. Buffer 1 and buffer 2 for the task 2. So in task 1, you put a message saying that task 1 calling function 1. This is the message which we are sending. So you display this message through the UART as usual till the status register becomes high. Okay, and you have a I, so for the buffer 1, and so in this you call the function 1. Just to visualize the results, we have put some sort of a delay in between. Otherwise, you won't be able to see anything. So it is so fast. So you put some delay function here. So what is our function 1? So coming to function 1, F1. So in task 1, I don't have, I mean, I do have nothing. So here just print the message. Task 1 is calling F1 and you call the F1. That's it. In function F1, you wait for the, similar to your semaphore, exactly same. There is a wait with the name and the infinite loop. Okay, and here we have the global variable, because I'm calling that function first. So immediately I acquire the key, and there is you increment the variable. Now here you put the message. The m variable value is now. Okay. So what is the value? Just put the message and continue with the message. And then this is the piece of code for UART for putting this message. And then you say that F1 calling F2, F1 calling F2. Okay, so you put the message saying that F1 calling F2. So when you execute the program, you just get to know that which task is holding the mutex. So that is through your simple message which is displayed. And what is the value of the variable? What is the value of this variable? Okay, so once you what do you call use this function, you just make use of this function, display the corresponding message, and then you can note here it also calls F2